everyone, you're watching NewsTrack with me, Marya, Shakil. It's a movie that has shaped public discourse for the past few weeks. It was accused of promoting misogyny, glorifying violence, and even shamelessly forwarding political propaganda. But none of that has stopped the film from racing away to 1,000 crores in box office collections in just 3 weeks. The only movie this year to have joined an elite club of just 9 Indian movies. Today we look at what exactly has endeared Dhurandhar to the masses. Is it its fiercely patriotic stance, the aura farming of its actors on screen, its viral soundtrack, or something much more? But we also ask, can a well-made movie give its makers the license to play around with the lines dividing fact and fiction? Joining me now is Rakesh Bedi, who is an actor of Dhurandhar. Komal Nahata is film trade analyst. Mayank Shekhar is a film critic and journalist. Advaita Kala is a screenwriter and author. I'm going to begin with you, Rakesh Bedi. In fact, Mr. Bedi actually plays the role of Jameel Jamali, a cunning politician in Pakistan's Liari area. Rakesh ji, many congratulations on your film being the first and only film of 2025 to cross the 1,000 crore magic mark, and that too in just 21 days. How do you feel about this amazing milestone?
That the film will do very well. How well, nobody knows. We also didn't know. But while making that, we used to feel, all of us, including the director, that something special is being made because everybody was putting in so much of hard work, so much of commitment and dedication, so much of time. Also, we gave a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and this feeling was there that this film is something special, and it has turned out to be like that.
Oh, okay, since in just 3 weeks since its release, there has been a lot of charcha over this film, debate. While the audiences have clearly loved the movie and that is reflecting in the box office numbers, there are also strong critical voices who claim that this film glorifies violence, torture and misogyny. Is this criticism still warranted given the film's success?
I don't think so. See, what happens is when the film succeeds, then a lot of people join the bandwagon to criticize it. If film flops, nobody even talks about it. So they would have been happier if the film had flopped. But the best part about the film is that people who are talking or people who are not talking, they're all going and seeing the film. And they're not seeing it once, they're seeing it twice, thrice. I know some people who have seen it 4 times, they still want to go once again for the fifth time to see the film. So that's a rare, very rare magic which probably happens once in a lifetime for any actor, director, writer. It doesn't happen every day like that.
Mr. Nahata, as someone who studies audience behavior, do viewers celebrate Dhurandhar's India versus Pakistan narrative, or are they consuming a more, one would say, coded ideological statement under the guise of a commercial spy thriller? How are you looking at audience behavior?
I don't think the audience views it as this ideology or that ideology. They pay the ticket price to get entertained. And if they get entertained, and entertainment could mean action, it could mean comedy, it could mean romance, it could mean a family drama. In this case, it's action. So if they feel entertained, they give the film a thumbs up. And if they don't feel entertained, they come out very dejected and they tell their friends and family, ये picture मत देखना, मजा नहीं आया. So I think the question of ideology, etc., is just what is written by journalists because they have to fill their pages or fill the airtime. I don't think the audience thinks on those lines, and if the audience thinks on those lines, it is a minuscule audience. 99% of the audience is only concerned about getting value for money. They seem to have got more than their value for money because, as Rakesh ji rightly said, people are repeating the film. And in 3 weeks, if people have seen it thrice and 4 times, it speaks volumes for the content and for the um, public tastes, public reports. I think they all have loved the film, and this debate is, I find it worthless if you ask me, especially after the film has proven itself and proven itself beyond imagination.
Okay, okay. Film critics like you, Mayank Shekhar, does the film narrative blur real events with fiction? And many would ask, where does creative license end and disinformation begin, especially when millions take cinema as cultural truth as well?
Well, I have to say there were portions in the film while I was watching it where, for instance, and I hope it's not a spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen the film, but clearly everyone's seen it and is watching it as Rakesh Bedi rightly put it more than once. These are real numbers for once. These are not fake corporate bookings and stuff. Everyone around me is watching the movie. There is that portion, for instance, and because you've asked that question, like, you know, Rahman Dekhe, that's Akshay Khanna's character, and is fabulous in the movie. So is Rakesh Bedi, of course. He's fabulous too. Great performances. Now he's sitting there in a room with the ISI person. Then you simply move to, you pause the film, you show a red screen, and this is a real recorded conversation that took place between the terrorists at Taj and their handlers back in Pakistan. Now, were these people sitting in that room? So when that happens, and then the next scene is the lead, that's Ranveer Singh's character talking about Ghayal and Ghatak, which is a very Sunny Deol kind of line, obviously. So that blurring of lines sometimes gets me frazzled a little bit. Like, am I supposed to take this seriously, or is it just a James Bond type spy film, right? But clearly that's a me problem. It's not a you problem.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, cinema is also a beautiful lie. And I think there's one thing that the director has, that's Aditya Dhar. He has an incredible, capacity to make you believe he has some inroad to some information that nobody else knows. Right? This is what happened. That's what he beautifully did in Uri. He did that in Article 370, the film that he produced and he wrote. And he's done this here. So there are multiple chapters. You feel like this is exactly what happened.
Okay.
And that can be the lines get blurred. But as I said, that is something that I
it's
think
a me
maybe
problem, not a you problem. So where is Advaita Kala fitting into all this me versus you problem here? Advaita, the film glorifies revenge under the idea of national duty. Does that then dilute the human cost that is behind stories of war and intelligence?
Okay, Maria, first of all, I have to just say this. I've loved Rakesh Bedi since the 1980s. So I'm just so excited to be on the same panel with him. And it's just incredible to see him get this, this great
Yes.
film to his credit at this stage in his career. And my heartiest congratulations to him. And, I mean, this is the thing, right? It's a film. It may be inspired by true events, but it is a film. And people are going to take a little liberty with facts when it comes to that. So I don't think we should go into it with too much of a microscope. Enjoy the movie, get the larger message from the movie. If you want to get the message, if you just want to be entertained, then be entertained and move on. It's certainly more realistic than a lot of other spy films that have come out in the recent past, with all kinds of liberties being taken. So I think it's a movie that has revived the industry to a certain extent, which is great because, as we know, movies were flopping back to back, and it's done it despite the odds. I mean, you have a 3.5 hour film that is pulling in people for the third and the fourth time, which just goes to show that if you can bring the content out, if you have a great ensemble cast, I think the industry, the audience is also getting a little tired of this overdone star culture and projection in the movies where story and everything else is put on the back burner. All other character actors are put on the back burner and it becomes a star vehicle. I think that era hopefully is coming to a close, and we see more of these sort of ensemble casts with great actors from different generations coming together to tell a story, truly engaging an audience. And if there's a message for some people, that's fine. If there isn't a message, that's also fine. The fact that Akshay Khanna's character is a villain but is the most viral character in the film
That's
says
true.
something in itself.
And
I
only
think the
because of
public
his
is
entry.
mature.
And the
Yeah,
style in which he enters.
exactly. So the public is smart enough to know
Yes.
what is entertainment, what is fact, what is fiction. Let's just trust them a little more. And congratulations again, 1,000 crores is just amazing.
Okay, so how many times have you watched the film, Advaita?
Me once, but let's see, it's going to come on OTT as well. So
Okay, so
if
you're
looking
open
for
to the idea
repeat
of watching it
viewing,
again. What about you,
yeah,
Mr.
sure.
Nahata?
I watch films only once because there are too many films happening every week to watch. But
Sure.
if I had the time, I wouldn't mind watching this film 2 and 3 times more.
Okay.
It is such a wonderful film, beautifully made, wonderful performances, great music, outstanding research. Everything about the film is outstanding.
Okay, let me go back to Rakesh Bedi. Mr. Bedi, talking about film's political messaging, because people are saying that it clearly takes a stand in favor of the current government and makes veiled references against the previous governments who governed India. What are your thoughts on that?
See, what I have, I'm not really authorized to comment anything on that because if I say anything, it can be, misjudged, misquoted, and all that. So I really don't want to say. I only want know one thing that I, as an actor, I loved being in this film. I loved my role. I did it with a lot of dedication. I prepared quite a lot for it. So I can only answer these questions. Now that there are these things also which uh, any film you take, for example, any film you take, why people don't react when didn't react like this way when US raided Pakistan and for Osama bin Laden. There was a film made, Dark 30, something like that, and then nobody reacted. Why? Because it's US. So even we have made a film, and some certain facts are there in the film. Now, I'm not really here to comment what is right and what is wrong. I only know one thing, that film has tried to speak the truth, and it has taken the
Okay,
world by storm.
since you're talking about truth, there's also this criticism, and since you are one of the characters who has actually drawn a lot of attention in this film, uh, and they are modeled on real life people, and therefore the fictitious events of the film give a misleading sense of real life parallels. How do you look at, or should you, how do you address that concern?
See, it is very stupid to think like that. Everything has some kind of seed. There's a saying in English called "nothing is new in this world." Nothing is new in this world. Even if a painter paints a sunset, he has seen it somewhere. So if you're painting a mother with a child, you have seen somewhere a mother with a child. It's nothing new in the world. Yeah. So everything has to be inspired from somewhere or the other. Now it's a story which is inspired by a lot of true events, and it has been woven together as a one man story. So it's not a biography. It's not a one man's story. It's a story of a man spy who goes there and certain things happen. So like my character, for example, now people say a lot of people are saying that it resembles somebody in Pakistan, and I can't help it. I can't help it. Uh, I I studied lot of Pakistani politicians, not one, many Pakistani politicians to create my own kind of a character, my own body language. But I saw many of them, not one.
Okay, so Mayank, as critics, when we look at a success of this nature, which is unrealistic and perhaps one of those breakout moments which is going to help Bollywood and the entire Indian film industry really a lot. Do we then risk becoming complicit when commercial successes eclipse conversations about ethics and representation?
No, I think conversations are always on, right? And that's the beauty of the medium itself. Everyone consumes, they have their point of view, and so does the filmmaker. And in that sense, there's no complicity. I mean, for instance, everyone keeps talking about the word propaganda, right? I don't even use the word propaganda as a pejorative. I mean, that is what he wants to make. That is what he wants to say. And there are people who agree or disagree, but that's a point of view. So I think the conversation should continue. it's great news that the movie's done fabulous business. But that also means that theaters are back. Are back. And just 3 years ago, we were just discussing, are they over, right?
Yes.
And it's not just happening with Dhurandhar. I mean, you take a film like Sayara, and that was a return of rom-com, or at least a return of romance with completely new actors, and it did huge business too. So I think this is all great news in terms of how well it's doing. The fact that people are returning to the cinemas. Uh, Everything else is conversation. I think that's, and it's great to have one.
Yes, and Advaita, there was this view that perhaps uh, films that cater to nationalistic ecosystem actually are doing well, because in general that was the revival of the Indian sentiment. But one would say that similar sentiment which were reflected in certain cinemas like 120 Bahadur, that did not really do well. It bombed at the box office, but it's also about a cinema which is very well made.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, but the thing is, nothing succeeds like success, right? If
Yes.
this movie had not succeeded, then we would be talking about the 3.5 hour long movie, the characters, why it hasn't done well, and whether it's time's up for these kind of nationalist movies. We'd be having a whole other conversation. So I think, what clicks and what doesn't click, one never really knows. I think the industry has a tendency to follow trends. So, like Mayank was saying, Sayara did really well. So they'll now you'll see a spew of like romantic movies, and nationalist movie does well, so you'll see a stream of nationalist
We did
movies.
see.
So I think we get caught into that cycle very quickly, trying to understand why something succeeds or not. I think end of the day, I mean, I'm a screenwriter, so maybe I'm biased. I think story is king, and the director is, of course, the primary storyteller, so he does have his perspective and his vision for a film. And the audience is somebody who you have to serve. They're not there to serve you or your vanity. And I think that approach to filmmaking has to change in the industry. And frankly, I have no problem with any kind of exceptionalism being attributed to India through these films. I mean, Hollywood has done that for decades. In every film, the president is the most powerful man in the world. Never mind anything else. America is always coming to the rescue and conquering for the rest of the world and for democracy and for freedom. So there are tendencies to do this kind of exceptionalism. There are some filmmakers who are amazing at it, who are able to do it well and in a realistic way, and it works with the audience because we all have this sense of pride, of national pride, and when we see it articulated in an entertaining, fun, interesting way, then we buy into it.
Okay, let me give the last word to Mr. Nahata. The fact is that this movie has a sequel. The date has been announced as well. 3.5 hours in one go, another 3.5 hours, or perhaps longer. We do not know the duration, what it looks like, but it has set the trend. And it's as we end the year, it's looking great for Indian film industry.
It is, of course, it is, and I can say this with a fair amount of conviction that the opening which Durandar 2 will take, I think, will be the best ever opening. It is already on its way to becoming the biggest blockbuster of Hindi cinema ever, and which means it will outdo Jawan, Pathan, Animal, Gadar 2, Stree 2, and Pushpa 2. The Hindi dubbed version had done approximately 720 crore. I'm talking about net collections. This is poised to go beyond that. So it is now well on its way to becoming the biggest blockbuster, and definitely one doesn't know how the second one will fare, but one is sure the opening will be tremendous, earth shattering, and probably the bestest opening ever,
Wow.
because that is the kind of euphoria for the film which will translate into box office collections. After that, of course, it will be the merits of the film which will see it perform at the box office. But for now, we should celebrate rather than, I'll just add one thing. Now, this channel or you have conducted this show. Another channel or another anchor would have done it differently. Does that mean that we should object to your conducting the show in this way? No, it is your show. You have done what you thought is right. It is Aditya Dhar's film. he has made a fantastic film which has been loved by the masses, the classes, everybody. So there is one small section which objects to it. Should we be giving them so much importance? I don't think so.
All
I
right.
think we need to give importance to the people who have loved the film.
Yes.
Why don't we talk about them? Why don't
Yes,
we
this
discuss
phenomena
why
that we
they
are
are loving the
discussing.
film?
Yes, this phenomena, and that's why we were discussing this phenomena as it enters the 1,000 crore club in just 21 days. Advaita Kala, Mr. Komal Nahata, Mayank Shekhar, and of course Rakesh Bedi, who has played that beautiful role of Jameel Jamali in the film. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts. That's all from me. We are putting out this entire discussion on our website and the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.